everyone, welcome back to the madness. Hope you're having a great day. Today I'm going to talk to you about The Woman King, which is a movie that just came out a couple weeks ago, and I enjoyed it, so I thought I'd share it. If you just saw the video before this, you saw that I had a very fun time setting up my phone camera, so if it falls over spontaneously, we're going with it, okay? Because we're just lucky that it's working at the moment. I have apparently need to progress in my purchasing of things and buy something to hold my phone when I don't want to hold my phone. So I'm going to be reading some things about the Egoji tribal women and comparing it to the movie that I saw. I'm not going to give any spoilers about it just because I think it's something you need to see. I think it's very empowering. If you don't know anything about the Egoji warriors, they're basically the Amazon women warriors. And they come from, I'm cheating because I'm reading actual information about them. They're for the Dahomey Amazon, and they come from the Kingdom of Dahomey in West Africa. And the movie's based in 1823, so there's still slave trading. There is very racial discrimination. There's a lot of trading with boats, and there's a lot of misinformation, miscommunication, very tribal, very, depending on where you go. So, like, in the West Africa, they're very less progressed as people that are coming from, like, America or coming from France. So, it was very interesting. I didn't know what to expect when I went and saw this movie. I didn't really see any previews for it, which I thought was weird. I don't watch much live TV either, so I didn't see anything on it until my phone found out that I went, because then now I keep getting advertisement for The Woman King. So, whatever. But this story is about several characters, actually, and it's hard to pinpoint who the main character is because it just goes on these two people mostly, and one of them is Viola Davis. Viola Davis did a wonderful job as her part. She's like the main Egoji warrior leader, and she eventually becomes she eventually becomes the Woman King. She's made to be the title the Woman King because she's the fearless leader of the Egoji women. And she just does a phenomenal job, and so does her lead actress with her. I'm gonna butcher her name. I'm gonna butcher all these places, so that's why I'm avoiding most of it. But Seo Medu, Medu. I don't know. She plays the main little girl, and they have a connection in the movie. It's a little predictable. You can figure it out as they start leading up to it. But it wasn't something that occurred to me when I first watched it, so it wasn't like a dead ringer. But as soon as they started mentioning things, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. It's a story, it's a lot about revenge, and then redemption. I really appreciated that. And it was a very pro, go women movie. So if you're looking for something like that empowering women movie, this would be it. I am a fan of African tribal music and culture, so I appreciated getting that. If you're not into that, you probably won't like this movie just because that's all it is. It is all about them being warriors, and they kick butt, guys. Like, they train, like, in the real world, when these ladies existed, they were taking, like, 8 years old and up of women, and they cannot be married, they cannot have children. If they do get married, they marry the king, but it is a vow of celibacy. They just want them to be focused on their job. And let's see here, I was gonna read something. Blah, 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 da, 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 da. Eventually, the Egoji women were mostly feared by the French because they started attacking the French because the French were attacking them. But the main thing that they were doing before they focused mostly on the French was they would go to other tribal communities and they would attack them, and it's basically just constant war. And so the king would send these women to take care of these people, and they were badass, man. Especially, like, the movie helped them look badass, but I have a feeling they were all badass in real life. Let's see here. Egoji warriors remain to be the only documented frontline female soldiers in modern warfare history. So it was like very empowering to me as a woman that these women were standing next to male guards and they were way better than them. There is a lot of fighting, obviously. There is a lot of violence, I guess you would say. But I appreciated how, even though there's a lot of people dying on set, they didn't really focus on like the blood and gore of it, and I appreciated that. I wasn't sure going into it because I'm like, oh, this is going to be a bloody movie. Just knowing a little bit about the Egojis that I already knew, I knew that this was going to be a very interesting movie that a lot of people are going to die. But I appreciated that they did not focus on that. It was more of the, you're dead, move on. You're dead, move on. You're dead, you move on. You got hurt. It wasn't like the whole blood spurting everywhere. It wasn't just like some bad war movie. So I appreciated that. I'm not queasy with that stuff. I don't get upset about that stuff, but I appreciated that they didn't focus on that because that was not the focus at all. It was them doing their job, them going back to get their comrades that were taken prisoner. There is some side story to it. There's like a side mini romance to it. So it has a lot of different aspects to it, but I just appreciated it. I appreciated like some snips of history and a good story to go along with it. You gotta see it, guys. I would give it like 8 out of 10. The only reason why I would give it lower, there were some moments where it was a little bit long, but what movie isn't? Even with accents, they were very, you can understand what they were saying. So that I appreciated that too. They did have a traditional African accent that was speaking English. It was interesting, however, that their version of speaking English was implied to, look at my nails. Oh, aren't they cute? Little ghosties. Little ghosties. Watch, this will be the thumbnail. Ghosties! But anyway, so there is a moment where, because they're speaking English, because it's an English watching viewers, most of them, and so they're speaking English, but then it's implied that they're actually speaking their language because a slave trader from France, I think it was, he's speaking Portuguese, and the king says, when you're in my kingdom, you speak my language. When I am your kingdom, I will speak yours. So then he switched to what is English, but it was implied that English isn't really what they're speaking. So I appreciated that. I appreciated that the people who were speaking different languages, it was not magically everyone speaks English. It was basically just implying that you're understanding this because we made it this way for you, but really the people who speak Portuguese are hearing a different language other than English, if that makes sense. I liked it. I thought that was neat. It also implied that the Egoji tribe from Dahomey were were the first to stop doing slave trade in Africa. So what was happening is these warriors would go to other tribes, they would attack, and then they would take prisoners. And the prisoners that weren't able-bodied to be a part of their women warrior team, mostly they were only taking back women. In the movie, they only took back the women because the women were the ones attacking, and they were killing the men because in the movie, they were getting revenge for an attack earlier. So they were taking prisoners of the men that they didn't kill, and then the goal is to take those prisoners, and they would trade them out with the French or whoever was coming to slave trade. And so the Egoji women were wanting to stop doing slave trade, and it does imply in the articles that I've read that that was a goal of the new king, that because he was a more modern king, more open to things, he's didn't want to keep doing slave trade, but it was pretty much the only way they were able to survive with the other competing tribes, because they had to basically pay off other tribes not to attack them. And so the Egoji women were pushing to stop doing slave trade because they can make their money in another way, which would be like their palm oil sale. And so the king said, fine, but you got to prove to me that we can do it. And they were able to prove that they could do it. So it was interesting to me to see that it actually upset me, which anything that's real in history, like I don't like to watch war movies. It's not because of the blood and guts, it's because I don't like knowing that this actually happened to somebody. So I really struggle with when it's dead on history, like Saving Private Ryan, all those kind of movies I don't appreciate. Pearl Harbor's hard for me to watch just because it actually happened and people actually died that way. People actually felt these things. People actually went through these emotions. So I struggled a little bit with the slave trading, especially when it was their own family that was selling them off. Like a brother sold his sister off and didn't care. So that hurt me a little bit. And that sounds so... It just sounds very bad for a white girl to be saying this. And privilege? No, I don't know. My white privilege is showing when I say that. It bothered me. It should bother everybody. And slavery should never have happened, but it did. But I did appreciate that these women were one of the first that were saying, this is not okay. We have to stop this. We cannot be the reason why these people are being put into slavery. And I appreciated that. It's a great movie. Go check it out. If you are a racist, you're obviously not going to like this movie, and you need to reevaluate yourself. The only bad reviews I've seen about these people, by these actors doing their job, and by the movie, are people that do not support people of a different color. And I'm 100% sure on that because of the words that were used in these reviews. So reevaluate yourself. It's almost 2023. Come on. But it was a very powerful movie, very encouraging, very women rule movie. So I liked it. Music was great. The dancing was great. There was humor in it that was just chef kiss. So guys, check it out. Don't forget to like my video. Like the movie too. But like my video, subscribe if you haven't already, and all that jazz, and I'll see you guys later.